All right, everyone, welcome. It is time to get into some timeless gameplay. If you haven't watched the deck tech already, go watch it, but we are running Rakdos, Death's Shadow. This is my version of the Death's Shadow deck. I did a full deck tech on it already, so you can go watch that. But for now, we're going to get into a couple of best of 3 matches. So let's get it. Here we go. So I didn't actually say this in the video. I put it in the description and obviously in the thumbnail, but I ran this deck in April through Diamond, I think high Platinum through Diamond into Mythic. A 78% win rate. Was 30-8 as my final record. So this deck ran incredibly, super good. I posted a deck on Reddit, got a lot of traction on it, lots of questions. People thought the deck was sick. The deck is sick. There are definitely, ooh, this hand is trash. There are definitely some flex spots in the deck that we can still work out. I don't love this hand, but I've got the Dragon Rage Channeler plus the Bobble, got the Reanimate Death Shadow. I'm going to pitch one Orcish Bowmasters. The main one that people are talking about is it's Scourge of something like Skyclaves. We can take a look at it, but it is the 2-mana, basically the 2-mana version of Death Shadow. It's like a 20/20 and gets -X, where X is the highest life total among players. So in this format, that is typically going to be like 17, just because we're a fetch shock format. So it's definitely an option. I saw some people saying that they were running that variant, and I don't hate that idea. So it's going to be something that we'll maybe try. I am all fresh out of Mythic wildcards right now, so it might take me a second to craft those, but I will lead. I'm just going to lead on the Blood Crypt here. On the off chance that next turn, maybe we'll get another fetch land, or another bobble rather, and then you can do the bobble trick if you want. I don't think NT is where we want to be right now, so we'll go ahead and pitch NT just to further get Channeler online. And I'm just gonna go ahead and crack because I want to draw some cards. Let's see what our opponent is working with. Iteration on top, so this is maybe like the Temur mid-range kind of list, running the, running Oko, running the Brainstorm. Wish we could have had the Bowmasters there, of course. But this kind of deck is a deck that we can take advantage of the Bowmasters more so than some other decks that we'll play against. Also worth noting, since we pitched the NT, we can reanimate it if we would like to, which is something that I will consider here. I think I'm more inclined to just leave up the Bowmasters, but we will see. But yeah, this is most likely, seems to me, going to be the Temur kind of mid-range shell. Playing the Deathrite does make it interesting, because now I think I'm more inclined to reanimate plus Bolt here. Let's just lead. Yeah, I think I want to try that line. I'm going to lead on NT. Pitch an NT. I don't need the backup NT. That'll also keep that count up. So I have a choice here. If I attack, pitch the Overgrown Tomb, and hit a land, I can play the land off of it. Which that'll be nice. On the other hand, I can go ahead and play my fetch lands and then get the Dragon's Rage Channeler online. Oh wait, no, I'm silly. Just by pitching to the NT trigger, I will get him online. So we're just going to go to attacks. We're going to pitch an Overgrown Tomb. Going to target the Channeler, coming in at you with a 4/4. Don't hate the Inquisition draw. I think I am going to run that instead of the bolt here. We'll see if I regret that choice. They do have the channeler or the shaman to eat and turn off my guy, and this is exactly what we thought was going to be. It's that Temur tempo mid-rangey deck. They've got the bolt to answer, so I can take the bolts here if I want, or I can take the Oko. I don't really care about the questing druid if I'm being honest. I think I'm going to take when I've played against Oko previously in these matches, like it hasn't really mattered because I've been too quick. But I am about to have a shadow online, hopefully, and I don't want them to get my shadow. It's actually a little bit of a tough choice. I think I'm going to go with the bolts. If he wants to play the Oko, he has to fetch and maybe fetch shock if he wants to do that. I guess he can just death ride it and then go into tapped, which might be what he does. But if he... What you got? What you got, opponent? One thing they can't do is they can't both Oko and turn offline my channeler. So he could Oko, he would hit the NT, and then but I would still be attacking him for 7. He's at 12. We've got Bolt in hand, we've got an Orcish Bowmasters in hands. We got lots of damage. See, shocking too. If he's going, let's see what he drew. He might have drawn something to play too, but if he's just going Oko here, passing. Interesting. So he might just be planning on Deathrite and trying to turn my stuff offline. Interesting. I think I would like... I'm just going to go to combat and see if they have an answer for the NT, or if opponent is just trying to turn Dragon Rage Channeler offline. I think here I'm going to discard the Reanimate. Don't really think I want it at this moment. And I am actually going to just target the Channeler again, because if he has an answer for the NT, I want to make him answer that, and then this will still be 3 damage pushing through. Okay, so we hit the land, so that's nice. You can't block the Channeler. If opponent takes 7, they're then in a position... Okay, so they are going to gain 2 life, going to drop the Channeler. That's cool. Still going to hit them for 5. We're going to play the lands. We're going to fetch shock, get out a 3/3 Death Shadow, and leave up the Orcish Bowmasters. Yep, they're going Questing Druid. They get a bolt off of that. If they try to bolt the Death Shadow, I am actually going to bolt my face. Well, I'll probably just Bowmasters my face. Seems to be the better line, really. But we have ways to keep this alive. And if he goes for the NT, cool. Like, he has lots of choices to make here. Yep, going for the Dragon Rage Channeler. So we could here, if we want, which I don't hate. I think I'm going to... It's a little bit wasteful on mana, but I'm going to bolt the Questing Druid in response. And then we might hit a creature off of this, and if we do... Well, actually, this is going to turn online the Channeler, if he doesn't have some sort of answer. Even if he does Spell Pierce it, which this is what this feels like to me. Yep, that's fine. So opponent is going to have a 3/3 Questing Druid, but Channeler is going to live here. Opponent now does not have a way to gain life. Yep, and you're dead, because I would be able to discard to NT, and he doesn't know I have the Bowmasters. This feels like a pretty good matchup, honestly. Don't care about Surgical Extraction. Their stuff is not big enough that I care about Bitter Triumph. I didn't see an Uro. I know they have the Oko. I don't think I need the Roiling Vortex here. Again, if this is an Oko or a Uro deck rather, then I could maybe bring in the Roiling Vortex and the Unlicensed Hearse. I just did not see them, so I don't know if I want to do that just yet. I honestly like my main deck a lot versus them. I think I'm going to drop a Deathrite Shaman for my last copy of Inquisition and run it like that and see how that goes. Take their interaction, take their, removal, try to discount some of that card advantage that they are getting. And the Deathrite, again, doesn't seem like it will be too massive in this matchup to me. The opponent is also playing Deathrite, so if we're like, man, I really need a Deathrite, we can reanimate theirs. So lots of choices there. Waiting on opponent. Come on, opponent. See what we got. Not my favorite hand. I would love a 1-drop, but we have Bowmasters. We can try to bait them into using that when we want it after we see their hand with the Inquisition. Unholy Heat can take out Deathrite if they play it turn 1. We got the NT for some card advantage. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I'm going to keep it. Please let me know, guys, how you like this recording setup. I am kind of slumming it right now, honestly. We're doing all this from a MacBook. Equipment will get better as we go. If we keep going, if people like the content, support the content, I will be able to put more energy into it. But for now, we're slumming it. We're going with this, and that will be fine. So coming off with a shock, don't have the Deathrite, so it seems. This might be a Ragavan or a DRC. That's also fine. Here we have the Bobble. We have this. I think I would rather. I want to get the DRC off the board. And then next turn, we can double Inquisition opponent. And let's just go ahead and get our card draw going here. I'm not going to wait on a DRC or anything. Let's just see what opponent is working with, what we going to draw, an Expressive Iteration. Sounds good. Might be a target for Inquisition. We will see. Death Shadow, that's a really nice draw. Not close to being online yet, but we'll drop to 14 on our next turn. If these were Thought Seizes, would be able to be dropping 10, and we'd have an online Death Shadow. But so it is. Inquisition is still good. Still worth playing. Not often you hear about people complaining about not taking the damage off of Thoughtseize. Interesting. Okay. Given the 1 land up, this is actually interesting. Given the 1 land up here, to me, that's signaling that they're about to cast a Brainstorm. They also do not currently have another DRC online, so I think I'm actually going to wait and try to Bowmasters them here. And if they Expressive Iteration and get stuff, yeah, like I think I am inclined to Bowmasters here. The upside is just so massive. Like, see, I bet they have it because you see them thinking about it. And there's the brainstorm like we thought. So we're going to crack, shock, Bowmasters them. And suddenly we have a 4/4 and the opponent just took 4 to the face. Better than a bolt to the face. 2 mana, bolt your face, plus get a 4/4. I think Orcish Bowmasters might be good, guys. I can't be sure. I think Orcish Bowmasters might be good. That's actually a really big number, I feel like, for me, because 4/4 evades bolts. This deck is most likely also playing Unholy Heat, which we might be seeing right here. Yep. So that is fine. That kind of signals to me that they have an answer for the Bowmasters too, because although you need to deal with the 4/4, I feel like as Temur, you need to deal with the Bowmasters, because how are you going to win if you're not drawing cards? Yeah, I'm just going to double Inquisition them here. I just want to tear their hand apart. We don't have damage on board right now, but we have so much damage in hands that I'm not concerned. Yeah. Opponent just, the Bowmasters was brutal, tore their hand apart. That feels like an easy matchup to me every day of the week. See, this is bad. A weird line though, if this had a, I don't know, if this had a Reanimate in it, I would seriously consider keeping it to turn 1, being on the draw, discard Troll, hopefully draw 2 off of the Bobble, then be able to Reanimate turn 2. But I am not going to keep that as is. This is a not great hand, but I really don't want to go to 5. 5 feels pretty much like impossible to come back from in this format. Just because, I mean, there's so many ways to punish the opponent. Like, it's such a tight format, Timeless is. It's one of the things I really enjoy about it. It rewards tight play and playing your deck well and playing your deck tightly. The turn 1, this Ayorian deck. There are a few things that this could be. I don't see any reason to fetch right now, so I'm just going to hold off. Another Death Shadow. Just going to pass here. So there are a couple things this could be. This could be a mana drain deck. There's a Bant Reclamation list that this is more and more seeming like it's probably going to be. That I'll probably do a video on here in a couple weeks. Maybe I'll do it next week. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's miserable to play against. If anyone remembers playing against the Nexus of Fate decks back in Standard when it was Wilderness Reclamation plus Nexus Fate, you're running that line. So just kind of miserable. Opponent passing with 3 blue mana up here. That to me is signaling that they have an Archmage's Charm. And I'm about to do something weird here, guys. I am going to bolt my face. I am sure. Like, Jake, why are you going to do that? Because I'm going to try to drop 2 4/4s on my turn. Is why. Opponent is going to Archmage's Charm here. Or Mana Drain. Mana Drain is the other option. They probably have a Swords to Plowshares. Given the 1 mana up for that, I don't want to gain 4 life off of the Death Shadow because that turns off my Death Shadow. So I'm actually just going to play the NT here and anticipate them probably going to Swords this. Or Spell Snare. Wow. I have seen play in the blue-black control list. Have not seen it in this variant, but hey, I mean, there's so many good. And the Archivist. Interesting. Yeah, this feels pretty tough from where we're at right now. We could reanimate their Bowmasters, which I don't hate, don't love either. Interesting. The swords is like really good against us because it just shuts down like our plan. Um, I think what I would like to do, I'm going to reanimate their bowmasters. This is going to turn on my unholy heat. That I'm going to take out this Oko. And I'm going to pass in the hopes that opponents swords the bowmasters because they want to get some card draw going. I think I'm gonna bolt the Archivist, just get the blocker out of the way. And again, we're just gonna go to combat. Swing 2. Wandering Emperor. Okay, this is very different than any list I've seen. So this is their own spice they've got going on. I think they've got it at this point. Honestly, like this feels like a pretty tough position. I can't think of a way out. So we're going to concede here. We're just going to move on to game 2. I do not believe in letting the control decks waste our time all day until they can win. Roiling Vertex is an easy in here versus a control deck. I'm bringing in all the hand hate. And I think that might be it. Bear Triumph, we saw 2 Planeswalkers, so that actually might not be too bad. I don't really care about Surgical Extraction. I think it just depends how many pieces that we want to take out, which for me, I want to take out the Unholy Heats. Actually, I want to take out Deathrite Shaman leading. It is one of the weakest cards in a deck, which feels crazy to say about Deathrite Shaman, but it's true. Unholy Heat does kill... that's an interesting question. I think I want to leave the Unholy Heat for Planeswalkers and cut a couple of these bolts. And there's nothing else that I want to be cutting for this matchup. So that being said, I'm going to run it. I thought about bringing in the extractions. It has the potential upside, but I don't really love it versus a control deck. I think it is very good versus combo, but versus just a control matchup, like, oh my god. Well, 5 lands and his 18 land deck is pretty atrocious. I really hate mulliganing to 6 against the control deck, but we're going to do it. Here's a hand. We are missing some pieces here. We're going to ship the swamp. We really, like, if this hand had a reanimate, like if this Orcish Bowmasters or MT was a reanimate, it would be gas. But alas, it's not where we're at. I am going to go ahead and cycle the troll though, just because if our opponent does, or if we do draw a reanimate, I want to be able to pop it off. Stilling our hands with these Blood Crypts here, do one of the worst cards in our list currently. Since they know we have the Blood Crypt, I'm going to run that and I'm just going to pass, leaving up the Bowmasters. Opponent probably knows that we're leaving up the Bowmasters. I might be running it into a mana drain here, but if so, I'm not too mad about that. There are, of the cards that they can counter, I don't hate them countering a Bowmasters. Okay, cycling the Lorien revealed. Given that they're cycling, I maybe should have went ahead and... So this is 4 color. At least 4 color. Because last game we saw the green. There's the Reanimate. We're going to pop off the Reanimate. Aiming the Troll. And then we're going to go ahead and pop off Death Shadow 2. I want to make them answer the big threats here. And let's just see what they've got. This is what we want to be doing. That Reanimate was huge. Unfortunately, and I may have mentioned this in deck tech, I don't remember, Swords to Plowshares is a big pain in the neck for this deck. I'm going to, again, this is a weird line, guys, but I am going to bolt my face here. Yes, because I want to grow my Depth's Shadow. They may also be on push. I don't know, so we will see. We're going to play the NT here. And given they might have spell snare, okay. Then we'll just run out the bubble. We'll see what they're going to draw. Uro, so this is an Uro deck. So this is probably like the 4-color Omnath deck, I am guessing. Yeah, this is really rough. This is about as good as you can write it up versus this deck, honestly. And I'm not trying to say that there aren't any matchups that are bad, because there certainly can be. This is also just so weird, frankly. I don't care about the Emperor because they aren't close to casting it. We're probably either Bowmasters or Mana Drain here. I think I'm going to go for Bowmasters. I don't love any of the choices, to be honest with you. And Bubble is just a really garbage draw there. We got the Bowmaster online, so they're going to get the thing, but we have to run it out. Yeah. So there is an example of the deck losing, which, let's be real, is a part of the game, and I'm not going to shy away from that. Here we go, on to match number 3. A couple of bit weird matchups. The Temur mid-range deck is probably solidly tier 3, so I've seen that a couple times. Not really seeing that 4-color kind of money pile thing very often. This hand is very close. I'm keeping it, but I don't feel great about it. Would really love something to pair with the Dragon's Rage Channeler. Don't like that this is Swamp instead of Fetch Land or another thing, but we've got things to play. We've got that on 1. We'll have Bowmasters on 2. So we have things going on. We'll be able to pitch the Troll to help turn on the Channeler. And again, if we draw a Reanimate at any point, this hand is gas. Honestly, that's the weird thing about these hands. You'll get these hands that look like this, and you're like, this doesn't look like it does a ton. But the second we draw a Reanimate, this hand is crazy. Okay, so we're playing another control deck, which is cool. We'll see what they're on. Mill. Okay. Mill is a weird matchup because they mill our pieces, and sometimes we can just cheese them out with the Reanimates to do it to them. And we can definitely race the mill deck, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes. And I feel like Mesmeric Orb always takes forever to trigger. Like, at least, maybe it's just my connection, but it always takes forever to trigger. There you go. There's the other half that's pretty good about this, is it turns on our Dragon's Rage Channelers. We're going to, and this probably doesn't matter because, I mean, it's going to mill us, so I'm just going to keep it. We will ship the second. Actually, I don't care about the Mesmeric Orb. I'm going to take the Fatal Push so that they cannot cast that Brainstorm. At least not happily. Yeah, dude, the Mesmeric Orb takes forever to trigger. I don't know what it is about it. They, in my experience playing this mill deck, they think Surgical Extraction is really good against us, but I just couldn't care less because we have so many threats. It can be annoying if they do it in response to a mill all things. This is when we just need to race them. Here I want to draw something to deal damage to myself, which we did not, so that I could turn these Death Shadows online. But we work with what we got. Opponent still doesn't have 2 colored pips for their Glimpse the Unthinkable, so that's a plus for us. Be milling 8 on our turn. Currently, we are winning the race as long as they don't have the correct mana, and they can't really afford to cast their Brainstorms. They do. They're going to cast Glimpse. We'll go down to 25 cards in library, and then subsequently we'll mill 8 and go down to like 17. So it really depends what is in their hands here, to be real. Yep, all of these triggers are okay. Go ahead. I want a Reanimate deck. That is about the worst card that we could have drawn. Okay, but here's the thing. We're going to mill. We're not going to cast anything. Going to attack for 5. Put them down to 5. I'm probably going to mill 10 because I'm going to activate Deathrite Shaman. But milling 10 is okay. We'll be careful not to search. What do they have? Glimpse the Unthinkable. That, unfortunately, is gonna do it to us. Because we'll mill, well, no. We'll mill 6. So we just don't need to do anything. We're gonna mill 6, and then we're going to attack them and kill them. That is literally as close as it could go. Alright, here we go. Let's mill out. Oh wait, no, it is gonna kill me because my draw is the dead. Man, that was as close as it could be. That's okay. Alright, for the mill matchup, we want to attack their hands. We're bringing in Inquisitions, we're bringing in Duress. We do not care about Unholy Heat. Deathrite Shaman also is quite mid, so we're going to take out Deathrite Shaman here. They are milling us, so I don't have to rely on doing the troll myself in order to hit it. And I'm going to bring in the Extraction. Both it is going to power up my my shadows, if I remember how to talk. And also just take out those annoying pieces that we strip from their hand. Like ideally, I want a hand that's like land, Thoughtseize, Surgical Extraction. This is okay. I will keep it. We need a threat, ideally, but that's okay. We have the Bowmasters, which is decent. Go ahead, we're gonna fetch, going to get Blood Crypts, Shock Blood Crypts, Duress the opponent. Archive Trap, yep. Do you have a second one? Nope. 3 Glimpse the Unthinkable. It's a pretty gross hand, opponents. The 1 land is alright, but a Stifle. Okay. Yeah, don't love it. Think possibly I should have hard mulligans for a Reanimate. I think could have been correct. I think we'll just hold up Bowmasters. Maybe they draw a Brainstorm and try to draw into some lands. So they draw a land, but it's not the kind of land that they need. We draw a Duress. Don't hate the Duress. We're going to strip both of their glimpses. But then we really are needing to find like an in here. That was stupid on the opponent's part because they know we play Bowmasters. So if they Fatal Push, I still have a 1/1 them hitting them. I know it's only 1 damage, but that was a silly move on opponent's parts. Cool thing here. Let's just Extraction. Hitting, actually, because I can strip it all, I'm going to do the Archive Trap, because that's a big bit of damage. Let's see what all they're working with. Got Jace, Tasha's. Okay. Get rid of that, and we know what's in opponent's hand. So we've got that. And again, do not love what we've got here. Really do not. Going ahead and fetching now, so that opponent can't stifle us. So now we really just need threats. We draw a Death Shadow, we are off to the races. Opponent does have their 7 of their best mill cards out of their deck, which is good, but again, we just really need a threat, period. That is a threat. I'm going to leave the land in my hand. Come on, block. I have a combat trick. I don't. I gotta leave the land in my hand. I don't remember if I saw. So they drew the removal. That's good. So they're gonna mill me. They're going to Field of Ruin and mill us again. This really hurts, guys. Really does. I'm going to Giganta. We will attack. Now they're going to Field of Ruin us. See if they hit our other swamp already. I'll float a black for fun to make you think we have something. They did not. We've got 3 Reanimate. Like, our deck is basically just gas right now. We just need to actually draw it. And we need opponent to run badly. Milled 2 of the worst cards left in our deck. But we only have 21 cards left, so it's not looking great. It's really not. And sometimes that happens. Second Ruin Crab, just not gonna do it. The Bowmasters just do not care right now. Yep, we will mill 6. Okay. All of our Reanimates are in our deck, but instead we're going to draw Orcish Bowmasters. So we're going to cast both here. The opponent is going to stifle that, which happens. But then we have the second one to kill that Ruin Crab. Feel decent here. Really just depends what opponent draws. They draw a Tasha's Hideous Laughter. That will be probably game over for us. Opponent thinking. Opponent maybe drew Surgical Extraction and is trying to think what they could remove the most cards with. And we drew probably the worst card in our deck we could have drawn. But that's okay. So if opponent blocks that, they're going to take 4. And I told you, and I knew they had the Surgical Extraction. I did say that, didn't I? Taking all of our reanimates, which there are 3 left in our deck. I hate to like say things like this. We really have drawn poorly. But I am not going to make excuses, just going to, like, that's how it is. Opponent doesn't have Glimpse here. Do we have any bolts left in our deck? There's 1 bolt there. We do. I am going to play this in the hopes of drawing a lightning bolt and killing him. He drew land, so we will mill 3. That is not a lightning bolt. All right, there we go. Close one. Let's go to the last of this match. I really would love to show you guys a cool turn 2 Reanimate Troll hand if deck wants to give it to me. This hand is bad, especially against what we're playing against. I'm going to mulligan. I think this is pretty good, actually. So I'm going to keep it. We're going to ship... I'm going to ship Bowmasters. We will lead with Foothills. Does opponent have Stifle? Was that a mistake? I'm going to pretend like I'm being smart. Let's see, I actually do want that. So we're going to leave it. Going to draw our Death Shadow. I did not think about opponents playing Stifle. So that is an oof. But we're going to have to at some point. At that point, we'll be on our turn probably. So let's just try it. Opponent, do you have the Stifle? Yes, opponent has the Stifle. I am shocked and amazed. So then we'll play our second fetch. Fetch, shock, play the shock. We'll play the Dragon's Rage Channeler. Ideally, opponent here plays, I don't know, like Glimpse the Unthinkable would be pretty good. Glimpse, mill us, let me reanimate something. I'm going to Surgical Extraction. That's that. Okay, get a Swamp. Fatal Push. Okay. Channeler. We're going to Inquisition. I'm going to mill the Duress. Opponent's hand is bad. What did I take? I don't super care about any of those. Maybe Drown the Lock, maybe Fatal Push. But I don't think I do. So I'm going to pass. I want opponent to mill us, is what I want opponents to. That is really annoying because they're turning off our red mana, but we just need to draw any fetch lands or troll. Either is fine. There's a Reanimate. Move to combat. I'm going to reanimate the Dragon's Rage Channeler. We're going to do that to keep it turned on. And then we have some threats. Yeah, pass. Feeling pretty good about this game, where they're at. They don't have a ton that they're working with. Glimpse the Unthinkable. I like it. We got the Troll. We're going to Surgical Extraction opponent. We're going to take Glimpse the Unthinkable. And there we go. Opponent calls it. yeah, we're about to do the Reanimate into Death Shadow. That game was going to be over. So, thank you guys for hanging with me. That was Rakdos Death Shadow. Didn't play against any tier 1 decks in that. Bunch of off the wall ones. No, the mill one is popular. I feel like we have a pretty good matchup versus that. Game 2, I should have mulliganed into a Reanimate, I think. I think that's really smart versus that matchup. But still, I feel good about all those games. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to see more gameplay of this, let me know. Otherwise, we got another deck tag coming for you next Thursday, and then we'll do some more gameplay the following Sunday. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. This is Snapkeep MTG. You guys have a good day. Thank you.